Now let's go back to our input block and get a better understanding of using two of these attributes, without defaults and unbuffered. Let's first talk about unbuffered and see what happens when we don't have the unbuffered attribute. Remember that unbuffered means that any change to the program record that's mapped to the form will also change on the form. So when we first ran the program, as soon as we left the city field, we saw that the state and zip code field changed. Without the unbuffered attribute set, when we go into the program and we move from the city, so our after city block is executed, the Illinois setting is there for the state field, but zip is not going to be shown until that field is current. So until there's a reason to write from the buffer to the field, which when it gets focused that happens, we don't see that occur. We don't see the number there. Whereas when we made a change with unbuffered, that after field block, let's do the same thing here, both of the focus field, which is the state field, and the zip code have whatever is in the program record appear on the form as well. So unbuffered, don't use the buffer. Any change to the program record automatically appears on the form, and vice versa. Any change that I make here is a change to my program record as well. All right, let's cancel that, and let's also talk about without defaults. Without defaults says, let's go into this input without using any default values that might be associated or set for the field. Sometimes in the database columns there are defaults set, and we want to go into this input without using those defaults. Now let's take a look at the program again first without defaults set. And let me just find a row to update. So when I go into an update, I'm preserving what is in the program record and not overriding it with any defaults. I want to preserve what this record looks like. I don't want to use any default values that might be associated with the columns. Okay, so here I see my record. I can make my changes and confirm them. If I take out without defaults, this says that when you go into the input, you're going to use the default values. And you can see there is a significant change when we go in to do an update. So let's find our record. Let's choose to update it. Notice that the form is cleared because the default values on this record that's used with this form are null. Okay, so we don't have any values here. This is clearly not what we want for an update because we simply want to update an existing row and existing values in those fields. So we want to use without defaults if we want to be preserving what's in the record when the user gets access to the form. Okay, so again, in our input, let's keep without defaults, recompile and run, and choose update. And again, the program record is not overwritten with default values.